CPU load. I just want to see what the CPU load. Once you start the live stream, let's look at the CPU load. What's that?
That's the picture. I want to see. The preview doesn't load right, so I would always just go to here. That's the YouTube one.
The live one?
Yeah.
All right. I need that link. Text to me.
You need to text you a short version or just this?
I need the link so I can send it to the radio station as soon as possible. Just the link. I can send it to whoever needs to have it. I'm ready to text. You send it to me. The left side with the gray bars is the local feed. The right side is live YouTube feed.
Wow.
We're going to switch back to you. I need to be out of the way. And your mic is hot. So even though KPFT is not on with us, you can start.
Okay, when will they be on? Will I be able to hear myself?
You will, when you go on live with no.
Huh?
I mean, you'll be able to hear yourself when you're talking. You'll be able to interview.
1, 2. I can hear myself now? I can. Believe it or not. Okay, I'm going to start my live, on my live broadcast, bro.
Okay. It's your thing.
All right. Assalamu alaikum. This is a live broadcast from Emancipation Park on Emancipation Avenue in Houston, Texas. This is the opening night of Kwanzaa. Habari Gani is Umoja, which is unity. And we're here at the Emancipation Park. This is a brand new, renovated Emancipation Park, whereby the tax increment reinvestment zone number 7 of OST Alameda has made a capital improvement investment of nearly $33 million to improve this facility. It's a beautiful facility. We wish we could show it to you. Right now we're in a kind of a side room, a studio that we've set up so that we'll be able to broadcast live as we've done. I don't know how many years, Double O Donnell, that we've done this broadcast. Well, we've done this broadcast under so amazing circumstances, by cell phone. We've done it by drum. We sent carrier pigeons. We've done a little bit of everything in order to get this program done. And so we're grateful to Allah for him blessing us to do this program. In a few moments, we're going to have some live guests to come in so that you can watch us via Facebook. We're trying to get our Periscope up and going, but I don't know if the connection is strong enough. I may I have to ask my technician to help me with some additional bandwidth in terms of Wi-Fi code. But that is what we're attempting to do at this time, is connect on Facebook Live. We're also broadcasting over YouTube. Is that right? Over YouTube. So we got YouTube, and we'll be going out back and forth out to the Kwanzaa celebration on YouTube. You can watch it. I don't know if there's a link. If there is a link, would you put it up on my Facebook page? Because I'm Facebook Live right now, and put that link to the YouTube up on Facebook so that the people can see it. And that way they'll be able to hear the broadcast and also be able to see the things that are going on here in Houston, Texas. Now, I think that it's very important. We're not on the radio right now. This also is going to be simulcast in a while to the KPFT audience, KPFT Live, which is 90.1 FM. You can listen to us via the World Wide Web, www.kpft.org. You can listen to us, or you can continue to watch us here on Facebook Live, or we're going to give you that YouTube link so that you're able to go on YouTube and you're able to watch it on YouTube as soon as my son is going to put it on our Facebook page. You know, again, we're members of the Nation of Islam, or I'm a member of the Nation of Islam, of course, and I am the Southwest Regional Student Minister of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I'm Student Minister Dr. Abdul Halim Muhammad, and many times the question comes up among the purists in the Nation of Islam, you know, when did we start celebrating Kwanzaa? It's not so much that we're so much celebrating Kwanzaa, but I want to remind you that the Nation of Islam is not those alone, those of us alone who are in the mosque who have registered, according to the teaching of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, that Master Fard Muhammad's whole intention was to get the whole 17 million at the time, or beyond right now, as we're looking at 40 or 50 million. So what are our people doing at this time? Where are our people? And if we don't attempt to be where they are, and then to bring them where we believe they should be, then how then can we deliver the now 40 to 50 million more of the dead to the Lamb of God? And I'm saying that to those of us in the Nation of Islam. I want to remind us that in the Million Man March, if you were around at that time in the Million Man March, the mission statement that was put together by the Executive Council of the Million Man March, the Holy Day of Atonement, the Day of Absence, that was put together and it was published. And of course, a part of that committee, of course, was the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, the Nation of Islam, along with others, that in this document, it laid out the what atonement was, what responsibility was, what the challenge was going forward to the government, the challenge to corporations, what the Day of Absence represented, and what continuing practices and projects would be there. And included in that was continuing expansion of our support for African-centered independent schools, joining their boards, enrolling our children and being concerned and active parents. And went on to talk about, and finally, embracing, practicing a common set of principles that reaffirm and strengthen family, community, and culture. And then we were given, for instance, the Nguzo Saba is in this document. Right here, it's in this document. And it says the 7 principles of Umoja, which is unique, Kujichagulia, self-determination, Ujima, which is collective work and responsibility, Ujama, which is cooperative economics, Nia, which is purpose, Kuumba, which is creativity, and Imani, which is faith. It's in this document. It's in this document. And so when we try to expand our reach and to communicate with our people on all levels, brother and sister, it doesn't take away one jot or tittle from the teaching, the truth, and the teaching of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad to be found among our people, working among them, understanding where they are. It's so much better than them calling themselves Negroes and not embracing their own their own part of their own history. There was a time when we didn't want anything to do with being called African, or even having any kind of positive look towards the continent of Africa or anything. We didn't want to be called black. We celebrated in the 20s when the New York Times decided to capitalize Negro with an N, put an N on Negro instead of just it being with a small n. I mean, we've come a long way, baby. And so here we are in 2017, and our people are working towards trying to hammer out some common goals. You got to understand, if you have any heart of love for our people and understand our history and what we've been through for the last 462 years since we were dragged here by Sir John Hawkins and the sea dogs of Queen Elizabeth from the shores of Africa, which created and began the triangular slave trade of bringing manufactured goods from Europe, bringing slaves to the West Indies in the Western Hemisphere, and then bringing the fruits of our labor to back to England. That Sir John Hawkins is fundamentally credited with starting the slave triangle, or the triangular slave trade, or the transatlantic slave trade. This is true. So we want to make sure that we don't have to sacrifice who and what we are. I'm here. I'm suited. I'm booted. I'm Farrakhan recruited. I'm Class A right now, Class B kind of class. I got a straight tie on, but I'm dressed. I'm not in my kente cloth, my mud cloth, anything like that. And if I was, so what? I mean, you and I have to learn how to reach out and be a part of our community. There are things that we don't have to engage ourselves in, but there are other things in which I think common sense says that you and I must begin to at least understand. So we're here broadcasting live, as I said, from the Emancipation Park in Houston, Texas, on Emancipation Avenue, which we had renamed after a Civil War Confederate captain named Dick Dowling, who is responsible for black people remaining enslaved in Texas for an extra 2.5 years after winning the Battle of the Sabine Pass, where he turned back the Union troops. And so we never got the Emancipation Proclamation here in Texas for another 2.5 years. And really, we weren't free until the 13th Amendment was ratified, and of course, in Texas, Texas became a part of the Union again. So that really was about 1870 when slavery really was actually physically outlawed in Texas. That's the true history. But here we are gathered together in Emancipation Park, on Emancipation Avenue, gathered together in peace, brothers and sisters from all parts of the community, regardless of their religion, their class, their creed, their ideology. We're all here together and meeting and greeting one another. And it's almost like a family reunion. So we are absolutely happy to be here today, and we so look forward. And I see a lot of people walking by the door that are waving at me. But I so look forward to us all enjoying this evening. So once again, brothers and sisters, welcome to this special edition of Connect the Dots. I'm broadcasting live over Facebook and trying to get on Periscope. I think I'll go back to my settings and attempt to get on that. And I'll need Haroon. You need to give me the code for the other Wi-Fi so I can put it in a hotspot and I can join. So that we'll be able to do what we need to do from here. So we got Brother Gerald going out and gathering up my guests. When are we going live on the radio? Do you know? Okay, you'll find out for me. Okay, good. Okay. So give me that code for us. Oh, we're already connected. Okay, good. Okay. So I'm going to go on Periscope, go back on Periscope again. All right, here we go. There we go. I got it. I'm good. Okay. We're on Periscope Live now, live from the celebration observance of Kwanzaa here at the Emancipation Park in Houston, Texas. Want to welcome all of you that are joining us via Periscope to and Facebook, and we'll be going live to KPFT in just a moment, talking to Sister Akua Holt, who is locking it down there at the studio at KPFT. And we're here again in Emancipation Park in Houston, Texas, which is located on Emancipation Avenue. And we had that name changed and done a few months ago after years of people being reminded of those who had enslaved us. This street was named after a Confederate captain by the name of Dick Dowling. And so we worked, the community worked and had the name of the street changed to Emancipation Avenue. And we know that means a lot to the people. So we're here again at KPFT as a remote studio at this time. I'm broadcasting. I'm your host, Dr. Abdul Halim Muhammad. I'm the student, Southwest Student Regional Minister of the Nation of Islam. And we'll be bringing in some guests, and we'll be broadcasting this live again over Facebook and over Periscope, and hopefully we're going over YouTube, and I hope that we sent that link, and we send assalamu alaikum, peace be unto you and to those who are celebrating or observing Kwanzaa Mbaragani, which is a umoja, umoja. I'm working on my case Swahili, umoja, which means unity. So what's the news? Habarigani is what's the news, and it's umoja, which is unity, and that's what we're doing. So they began the drumming out in the audience. So if you were watching, if you want to switch back and forth, and I think they've sent the link, the YouTube link on my Facebook page. They posted it on my Facebook page. I don't know. Ibn Halim, did they put the link on my Facebook page? You put the link on my Facebook Live page? Okay, good. Okay, so you can go on YouTube. This will be broadcasting live over YouTube, and you'll be able to see the festivities out there. Brother Haroon, why don't you switch out for our YouTube audience? You can switch out and let the people see what's going on out there in the audience, out in the gymnasium kind of multi-purpose room of this great park that has been renovated through the efforts of the tax increment reinvestment zone number 7 here, the OST Alameda tax increment reinvestment zone. This is what happens when we pool our resources or utilize our own tax structure and sacrifice some for ourselves so we can have something for our community. The question is now, do we understand and have a full picture, full grasp of that which we are capable of doing if we would just govern ourselves? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad asked the question in the illuminating book, Message to the Black Man, do we have the qualified men and women for self-government? And he answered that question himself. Yes, emphatically, yes, we do. We do. So we had the ability to renovate this historic park that was established actually by freed men after the Civil War. And these freed men set aside this acreage because there was no place in Houston that they could celebrate their emancipation. So they did it here. They pooled their resources, their nickels, dimes, and quarters. They sung, they fried chicken, they did whatever they had to do. And they indeed had set aside this parcel of land. In fact, this is the first public park in the state of Texas, believe it or not, established by freed men, by ex-slaves. And they established this park, Emancipation Park, and it's been a long time. And so we have endeavored through quasi-government agencies to renovate this park. And now it is absolutely gone through a facelift. You should come, when you come to Texas, make sure that you come to Emancipation Park and that you see this beautiful facility that we have here, that we have pooled our resources to put together. So come on to Houston and visit with us. So if you're watching this via YouTube, our producer, Brother Haroon, will send you out there, and you could be able to see via the link that we've sent you on YouTube. So those of you who can multitask, you'll be able to see what's going on out there in the audience. Out, we're in a room probably because it would be too much noise for us to broadcast. So, are we ever going to go live on the radio?
Yes, sir. We are. They're waiting on for you to have your first guest.
Okay, they're waiting on my first guest. Okay. So let's send a word. Let's send a word to Brother Gerald, our runner, our assistant, to bring in my first guest so that we can interview them via Periscope, via Facebook, via YouTube, and via KPFT. And I'm sure that we'll be able to. Oh, my God, Obadike Kumau is here, my good brother, so he can come on in. So we can get started. Boy, that's like that's the way to start it off. That's the way we're going to start this thing off. That's what I'm talking about. Come on here, Brother Obadike. How you doing? My Hibarigani, my brother, how you feeling, man? Ah, man, come on in. Dr. Obadike Kumau is an old friend of mine. Let me just say this, brothers and sisters.
Me old, man.
Well, I mean, I said you're an old friend of mine. I didn't say you was old. I didn't say you was old. I just say you're an old friend. You know? But want to let the whole audience know, you know, how I cut my teeth in media, believe it or not, was coming on his show, Afrocentric Reality. It would be like, what, at midnight on Sundays?
Yeah, it was a
midnight on Sundays on KPFT. Man, go on, pull up this microphone here. We'll come on Sundays. And so right now we're live over Periscope. We're live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. And in a few moments, we're going to connect. We'll be going live on KPFT. So we're just going to do what we do. But I want to let the audience know, all of the audience know. We're going live now. We're live now. Okay, 3, 2, 1. We're live now on KPFT. We're live now on KPFT. Hibarigani is the word. And, you know, that's what's the news. And it's Umoja, which is unity. And we're broadcasting live from Emancipation Park here in Houston, Texas, on Emancipation Avenue in Houston, Texas. We're going live on KPFT. We're live on Facebook. We're live on Periscope. We're live on YouTube. And we're here in the first night of festivities. We're doing what we do as we normally do on the first night of Kwanzaa. Again, this is a community celebration. Kwanzaa is a cultural celebration. Regardless of your creed or your class or your color or your ideology, it is an opportunity where we come together and we celebrate what we feel is our common history, our common culture, and perhaps to plot out our common destiny. Right here sitting with me is one of my first guests, and I'm honored that he would come here, is Dr. Obadike Kumau. Dr. Obadike Kumau is, of course, a great friend of mine and has been for some years. And I won't say an old friend. He got insulted when I said that. But
no, we are old friends.
We are old friends. Yeah. But I want to say to all of those who may have seen me on, say, Roland Martin's show, News One program, or Nightline, Ted Koppel's Nightline, or on the program with Bill O'Reilly, or the various radio shows that I've done, I cut my teeth on Sundays or midnight going on Afrocentric Reality, which was his show, and taking call-ins, man, and having to defend the teachings of Honorable Elijah Muhammad from some people that just, I think they stayed up at midnight just to get at whoever came on Obadike's show. But that toughened me up and taught me the way to respond, to have intelligent conversation and dialogue with people who fundamentally disagree with you. And in some cases, just purposely disagree with you. However, how do you do it without losing your cool? Brother Obadike, welcome to the special edition of Connected Dots, and we're proud to have you here as one of our first guests tonight.
Thank you very much, Minister Robert, and those were some exciting media days. Yeah. They
certainly were, brother.
Yeah.
Some of them phone calls we got in, we think about the old guard of Dr. Lin Chu.
Yes.
He may Allah forever be pleased with him and others though at those times. And so we just want to say, though, on this first night of Kwanzaa, you've been around for some time now, And we've seen it grow from the times when we were catching water and leak from a leaky roof and buckets over at Shape Center. They even before that. This is the 50th year anniversary, as I understand, of the celebration here in Houston. And guess what? Mr. Farrakhan gave me a new name, brother. So there you go.
Right. Dr. Abdul Halim Muhammad. Congratulations, my brother.
Thank you, sir.
Can you share with us what that means and what that signifies at this stage of your development?
Well, Minister Farrakhan gave me the name Abdul Halim. Abdul means servant. Halim means forbearing, patient, tolerant. Okay. And so he gave me his name. When I met him in April of 1976, his name was Abdul Halim Farrakhan. Oh, really? And this was in July. I was in his office, and I said to him, brother, he promised that he was going to give me a name. In fact, he was going to name me in front of the whole nation of Islam over a live broadcast. And he didn't. So I went back to the office and I asked him, is something, God didn't inspire you to do that? And he started laughing. He kind of looked at me and he said, oh, brother, I've been thinking about it quite a while, a long time. He said, I'll give you my name. My name, Abdul Halim. Your name is Abdul Halim Muhammad. So he gave me that name, which means, again, forbearing, which is the quality of God or the characteristic of God or the attribute of God by which he won't punish you right away for your transgressions. So I kind of go along to do what we got to do. But let's talk about this Kwanzaa celebration here, again, as in the evolution of the community, and we've seen that place is packed in that gym. That gymnasium is packed. So, Haroon, go out there for the YouTube people. Let the YouTube people see exactly what's going on out there in that gymnasium. I mean, it's absolutely packed out there, and you can see it too, Brother Obadike. Yes. But let's talk about the progression of where we are as a people and where we have to go, and on this Kwanzaa, this night of unity, where you'd like to see us go, and then we'll let you go out and enjoy the festivities yourself.
Well, one of the things that I strongly feel that we should do is that we should make a concerted, systematic effort to understand who we are, to know who we are, to know and understand our capacities and our capabilities. This Emancipation development, the Emancipation Park, I believe it was the first public park in the state of Texas. That's right. Yes, sir. Something that we did, and look at what our efforts have become just here. Robert, I think that we need to have higher expectations, and I think that we call ourselves God's children, but we don't necessarily claim the attributes of God, which, attributes such as create, attributes such as to harvest our work. We contribute mightily. When I say we, I'm speaking of those of us who are called African Americans specifically. But we do not, for the most part, enjoy the total fruit of what our contributions that they are made of. And so you have other people, it's an exploitation, a systematic exploitation that we have undergone as a people throughout our whole sojourn here. And I don't want us to necessarily be angry with anybody. I'm not trying to get us to do anything other than to know ourselves. And somebody was talking about us knowing, our enemies or our opposition, and we do because of the way that we've been forced to deal with them. But in knowing them, we have not known ourselves. We don't understand who we are, and we don't understand what our capabilities are. And how do we do that in a practical way? Because we both have PhDs. We both, the theory.
Sure.
And I understand exactly how that sounds. But we need to find ways to do it in a very practical way. And we need to do it while we are working on developing those beliefs. We don't have the pleasure of, running off somewhere and doing the study.
We have to build it as we fly.
Build it as we fly.
Yeah.
And we have to become it as we build it.
Okay. That's Dr. Obadike Kamau. We want to thank you for coming on and sitting with us for these few moments here. And we look forward to an exciting and productive and practical 2018.
Absolutely.
As we move
and you
forward.
know, brother, 2019 is coming. That's our 400th year here, according to what the historians tell us.
1619, yeah.
Yeah, and I just think that we may need to give some thought. We just kind of flying along day to day. We may want to give some thought that perhaps we don't want to commemorate that. Perhaps we want to largely commemorate it. We want to use it as a reflection, as a jubilee to begin, you know, because we need to look at these 400 years.
Okay.
And it's just a thought.
No, it's more than a thought, you know. So I've got to reconcile, of course, what I've been taught, 1555, to that 1619. Yeah. So how
we missed that one too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we sure did. We sure did. We sure did. We sure did. Albert DK Kamau, we want to thank you for coming and being with us. And we look forward to you coming and us doing what we got to do in 2018, moving into 2019.
All right, brother. Peace.
All right, peace. All right, that's, again, a special edition of Connect the Dots here at the Emancipation Park. And so now, Akua, we'll go back to you in the studio. We got more guests coming, of course. They're performing the program, but we got more guests coming that'll sit in and be with us here. So, Akua, we're going to send it right back to you over there at KPFT. All right, those of you who are watching me live, you can watch me drink some water live. Ooh. Refreshing. Okay, so I guess check with Brother Gerald and see who we're going to bring up and what time Akua wants us to have to be back on over there, brother. I'm dependent on you. 00 Darnell Muhammad, of course, is our chief producer of this program, our technical wizard that's helping us broadcast from here live. His son Haroon is the assistant producer, and I don't know who the director is. I'm just your host. I'm trying to get it together. So I see the back of somebody's head. I hope he brings me a bean pie. That's the back of brother. Is that the back of Brother Ray's head? Yes, that's his head on YouTube. The back of Brother Ray's head on YouTube, and ask him if he brought any bean pies with him, so I could take one home. You know, my goodness. So that being said, once again, thank you all for tuning into this special broadcast, the special edition of Connect the Dots. I'm again your host, Dr. Abdul Halim Muhammad, and we're broadcasting live from Emancipation Park in Houston, Texas, in 3rd Ward, Houston, Texas. And we're going to come on in, Attorney Sharon Burney will come on in, and we're going to have her to come and to join us and to sit down with us and have a dialogue and talk about what we need to talk about. Come on, put those headphones on, Sister Sharon. Yeah, you got to do it some kind of way. Huh? You got to take off your crown. Oh, my God. Okay, so we're broadcasting live again over Facebook, over Periscope, over YouTube. This is going out live. And we want to welcome to the microphones Sister Attorney Sharon Burney. She is longtime, forever resident of Houston, Texas, and can boast of having sat on the lap of student minister Abdul Rahman Muhammad when he was minister here in Houston, Texas, back in the 70s. But she now is seeking to serve the community in a capacity, of course, as Justice of the Peace. And so, first and foremost, Sister Sharon, tell our listening audience about yourself and and just you know, you're here at this first night of Kwanzaa, and you've been around as long, probably as long as any of us have been in celebration of Kwanzaa. You're very astute and also connected to the community. So let's talk about that.
Thank you, Brother Minister Robert. It's a pleasure to be here, and almost brings tears to my eyes because I was just telling Brother Obadike, he said he was on earlier, and I said, so now I follow you, because he used to follow me. I hosted Reflections Black on Black on years ago, and Brother Obadike followed me. I even interviewed the minister a couple of times, and Brother Khalid Muhammad on the show. And
wow.
I mean, this just really brings back very strong memories to me. Like I said, life comes and goes, and now it's a new path. I taught and administered programs for homeless youth called the Lighted Schoolhouse and other programs in HISD for 24 years, working with the youth. And when they took entrepreneurship and vocational programs out of the school system and just wanted to test the kids, then I knew I had to open up the door to possibilities. And after 24 years in education, I decided to go to law school. And I am a graduate of Thurgood Marshall School of Law. I did not know where that path would lead me, but after graduating 10 years ago and passing the bar and practicing law for 10 years, mostly in probate areas of law, I have decided to run for Justice of the Peace. My mother is the current Justice of the Peace, Annetta Burney, in the seat that I am seeking election for. And so I have been very well trained throughout. As a matter of fact, Brother Roberts trained me. Just all the Deloitte Parker, Kwanzaa, like I said, somebody said she doesn't have any experience. I said, well, at the age of 13, I was volunteering at Shape Community Center under Deloitte. At the age of 5, I was marching. I was putting out almost every elected official that back in the day used to come. Sister Ada was a regular on Reflections Black on Black, and we worked the Free South African movement. What kind of experience do I need? I have the education, I have the work experience, and I have the community experience. My mother, Zanetta, gave birth to me when she was 17, and she actually was a high school dropout. So she dropped out after giving birth to me. She went back and got her GED, and then she got a nursing license and worked 11 to 7 at night into the morning to put herself through college and then through law school, and then, you know, ultimately became a judge. Well, we're seeking to make history now, because not only did she do that, and I have a law degree, but if elected judge, that means that not only she became a judge, but the baby that was in her womb when she dropped out of high school also became a judge. So that is not just my story that I'm trying to tell, but I'm trying to tell the story of the resilience of black women that come out of the 50s. You hear all the time about black girls getting pregnant and doing this, but do you hear about the black women that went beyond that, and also what happened to their babies when these teens gave birth, that we have victory? So that's why I'm running, and I'm so happy to be here tonight and happy to be with you, and 50 years of Kwanzaa celebrating.
50 years, wow.
50 years.
Okay, well, we're here again, and I just wanted to make sure that the viewing audience that are all over the world, matter of fact, across the country, they're watching us on Periscope, Facebook, and YouTube. This is going out over YouTube Live, and we're giving it to them so that you can be introduced to people, because your work is going to touch people. We live in a time where capital has no borders, and in some cases labor has no borders, but also wisdom, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding should have no borders. One thing about social media and the internet, it has absolutely sent us all around the world. So I'm just happy to have you here. We wish you the best in your endeavors. And on this night of unity, Kwanzaa, anything that you want to send out to the world and say to the world, to Houston and the world at this time, Sharon?
Pray for peace.
Pray for peace.
Assalamu alaikum. Said it all. And wa alaikum salam as a response. There's no more to say. If we can achieve world peace, even in the time when we have demons in the White House,
wow,
we, are doing with our soul all that we can do, and peace and gratitude.
Okay. Well, that being said, brothers and sisters, again, I want to introduce to some and present to others Attorney Sharon Burney. She is seeking to be Justice of the Peace here in Texas. All of our posts, constitutional posts from Justice of Peace up to Texas Supreme Court, are elected positions, constitutional positions from governor on down to city councilman or mayor. Is our elected posts, our legislative posts, all the way from the Senate, the House, and our county commissioners, and also our city council people are all elected posts. That's what the Constitution in Texas called for, especially after they kicked out the Reconstruction radical Republicans. And they overthrew the government and literally put Jim Crow back in effect. But that's another story for another time. But we're happy to have a candidate for Precinct 7, is it?
Precinct 7.
Precinct 7.
Place 2,
Place
Precinct
2.
7.
Precinct 7. Sharon Burney. So thank you, Sister Sharon.
Happy Kwanzaa.
Happy Kwanzaa. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
All right. Thank you. Okay, so again, everybody, just hang with me. I'll be doing this for the next hour. I got more people. Who's next, brother? Give me the names of the people who we got coming up next. I got Brother Kofi. Let me know who I got, man. Give me a list of the folk. Man, what? Brother Caleb, man, what? Lord have mercy. I got to get them all. I got some youth leaders got to come on here. I'm just. Put your headphones on.
What's that young man's name?
Brothers and sisters, if you really, those of you, we're on Periscope Live, we're on Facebook Live, we're broadcasting over YouTube. Go and switch out there and you can see out via YouTube how we are observing what's going on out there. And then we'll have people come in here. We got John Bunchy Crea with the Black Panther alumni of Southwest. He's coming up. I got Caleb Taylor of Texas Southern University and Omega Psi Phi. He'll be coming up soon. But right now, oh my goodness, oh Lord, I got my nieces and everybody just rolled up in it. You still with this? You still with this cat? You still with him? My man, all right, you 1 year, you done good, son. Okay, I'm gonna get there. Y'all, this is like family. This is like a big family reunion here at Kwanzaa, and so we wanna talk about, of course, one of the principles of Kwanzaa is creativity. I think it's Kuumba, which is creativity, and but we know that this is the night of unity. You've been in the community as longer than I have in terms of this, in terms of these efforts. I mean, when we were catching rainwater in buckets from leaky roofs at Shape Center and all the things that we have done, and the art, you particularly have expressed and preserved our culture through art.
Thank you.
That's what if they asked me, if they tortured me, well, they didn't have to. They just slapped me around a couple times and asked me. I would tell. So tell our listening audience about what you do, what you've done. Take about 3-4 minutes and really stretch on out.
Well, thank you, Brother Muhammad. This is such a wonderful time to share, and I appreciate the opportunity to do so. The Community Artists Collective grew out of Shape Community Center. Through my awareness of what Brother Deloyd was doing in the community, the piece that I brought and offered was teaching art. I had been teaching art in Southwest Houston since the 70s, and I was eager for an opportunity to share what I know and love about the arts with my own community. SHAPE provided a platform for that to happen. I taught ceramics there on a voluntary basis for several years before I had the opportunity, or just asked Lloyd to sit down with me and let's talk about the possibility of making this something that's ongoing. He was a little hesitant, but nonetheless encouraging. I think that his experiences in building an institution in the community had made him a little jaded, maybe a little guarded about his advice. I understand that now, as people are approaching me about advice relative to starting a 501c3. It's a pretty arduous task and endeavor. So, at any rate, the objective of starting the Community Artists Collective was to provide a platform for other artists to give back to the community through their work, through their enthusiasm for our people, for their understanding of creativity. And the artists have had some great experiences. They've had some life-changing experiences. They've had some hesitancy because they hadn't thought of themselves as teachers. But you know, teaching is sharing.
That's right.
Yeah, that's basically all it is. And I've been trained to be an educator professionally, but it is who I am in my nature.
So, what have you seen? I mean, you talked about life-changing experiences. So, what have you seen in the evolution not only of the program, but in individuals over these years? Since you engage yourself in SHAPE, we've seen SHAPE grow. We've seen SHAPE go through its ups and downs, ins and outs, comings and going. How about yourself? And how about the contributions that arts have made in telling our story? In a way, you know something about arts. Arts has a means of a way of telling our story without really offending people. And even though you've really hit them across the head with a 2x4, they don't even know that they've been hit by a 2x4.
It can be very subtle.
Yeah.
Very subtle, but impactful. It can be also very confusing because of the subtlety. It's important for the art to be authentic, from the heart, from the experiences, from the lives of the people who are creating it. Art is autobiographical. It doesn't just appear. It is part of a process of life. It manifests itself in lots of different forms, through the poetry, through the dance, through the music, through theater, as well as through the visual arts.
Are we live now? We're live now? Okay, we're live again on KPFT. And
what have we been?
We've been live on Periscope.
Okay.
That's going across the world. Live on Facebook. Live on YouTube. So we're broadcasting on 1, 2, 3, and now 4th platform, which is KPFT. Akua, we want to again welcome you back to Emancipation Park. We're here at the opening night of Kwanzaa. Habari Gani, which means Western News, and there's Umoja, which is, of course, unity. That is absolutely what we're doing here tonight. And so we have been interviewing folk. We had just a few moments ago Dr. Obadike Kumau. We've had other people in between on these other platforms that we're broadcasting on right now. So what we want to do right now is talk about the Artists Collective, please. The Artists Collective, because one of the nights of Kwanzaa is Kuumba, which is creativity. But we want to talk about that in the context of what we're looking at right now in our efforts. So please go back and say what you just told me a few moments ago.
Well, let me put it a different way. The arts manifest authentically the lives, the priorities of its people. Art is autobiographical. So as it's manifested in poetry, dance, music, theater, visual arts, film, photography, all forms. It can be very subtle, it can be very confusing, because we've got to know each other. We've got to trust each other. And we've got to trust ourselves as we consume these art forms, as we enjoy or resist the art forms. We have the choice to use it or not. And I think at this point in our evolution, we need to use every resource that we can, including the arts. We are creative beings.
You know something, since you wax poetic, and I apologize to all my audiences out there, and realize her name is Michelle Barnes. And her son is attended Hampton. Yeah, HU, the real sons. HU baby. But anyway, I'll leave that alone. I won't mess with them Howard people out there. But Sister Michelle, look, we're going to we thank you for coming on this special edition Connected Dots. We're going to try to get in one more interview. We got Brother Kofi that's right behind you. We're going to get him in because he wants to get back out there. But anything you want to say to the listening audience and to the world? Once again, you said you wax poetic on all these other platforms. It's just KPFT. What you want to say to the KPFT listening audience?
I'd like to ask everyone to stay strong, stay vigilant, and be creative. Thank you.
All right, Michelle Barnes, we want to thank you for coming on. Now, right now, we got coming right up. Don't cut me off, Akua. I got Brother Kofi Tahaka, the national chairman of the National Black United Front here in Houston, Texas, and beyond. And we're going to put him on. And come on up here, Bunchy. Get on in here. And I don't know if you'll be able to hear. It doesn't matter. You can hear my mouth running. But also, I've got John Creer Bunchy of the Black Panther Alumni Association. And when I say that to you, I don't like to say the original Black Panthers, so I'm not trying to get in that. But I'm talking about those People's Party too. When they actually stopped having Black Panther chapters because of the COINTELPRO program and all of the disruptive activity that went on, the deaths, the jailings, the absolute government crackdown on our Black Power generals and Black Power movement. But he is one of those who's beyond a survivor. He's a thriver. And he's a brother whom I look to and to whom I love. And as I said to you, brothers and sisters, on this first night of Kwanzaa, this Umoja, this first night of Kwanzaa, I'm working on my African, Brother Kofi, my Kiswahili. Umoja, this first night of Umoja, you see I'm here with straight up nationalists in terms of Brother Kofi Tahaka and the National Black United Front. Also, he considers himself a Pan-Africanist also to a certain extent. And Brother Bunchy, who is, of course, the Black Panther Party, and knowing the history of the Black Panther Party, and in some cases the disruptive operations of COINTELPRO, where they would send letters back and forth from the Nation of Islam, saying it was from the Nation of Islam or from the Black Panther Party about what they did and they didn't like about us. Here we are sitting together in this day and time in Houston, Texas, which is a very special place, broadcasting live on KPFT and on Facebook and Periscope and on YouTube. Let's hear from our brothers. First of all, Habari Ghani, which means what's the news, and it's what, Brother Kofi? Go ahead.
Umoja, unity.
Umoja, unity. And of course, Brother Bunchy, we want to welcome you also to Connect the Dots.
I just want to say one thing. Within this last year, this brother here, Abdul Halim, we've had to learn two different things because he got his doctorate. Right. So then it was like, well, do we call him minister doctor or doctor minister? So we got that straight. And then the Honorable Farrakhan gave him the name of Abdul Halim. So now it's Dr. Minister Abdul Halim. And he's my friend. And you'll see me and Kofi, or me, him, and Kofi together because we love each other.
That's a fact. So, Brother Kofi, this is, again, very special night for us here, a night of unity. We see the community out, of course. This is usually one of the largest nights of Kwanzaa, as it's the first one. So talk to us and define what unity means beyond this I won't call it a ritual, but this gathering, meaning that we work on it, 364 and 1/4 and 24/7. That's what we're about. But talk to us about how we go beyond this. Talk to the KPFT audience and Periscope and Facebook and YouTube. Talk about it, brother.
Yes, well, the concept of unity is something that if you talk to most people, African people, black people, they say, yeah, we need it. We got to well, if we could only just come together and do something. I think what we find tonight, as well as throughout the city, that it takes a lot of hard work to bring people together of different religions, different ideological backgrounds, different socio-economic backgrounds to work on common causes. And I'm pretty hyped up because I just got finished pouring the libation.
Yeah.
Right. But I didn't call out the name of our brother Carl Hampton. But I let Spirit guide me, and I thought about it before coming here because we're on sacred ground here. The Reverend Jack Yates and others organized to buy this land after the so-called Emancipation Proclamation so that we might have a place to come to and our children might have a place to come to for recreation and meeting. So when we're at Emancipation Park, that's where the name comes from. And right down the street was the People's Party 2 headquarters right here. And unfortunately, our brother, who is Egun, our ancestor, Brother Carl, was assassinated right here on Emancipation Way, then Dowling Street in 1970. So to make unity work, then we got to look at what do we have in common. What do we have in common? We can easily look at what we disagree with and be able to throw our fist away and say, man, I'm not dealing with no Dr. Abdul, Reverend Minister Dr. Abdul, Brother Abdul Halim, because they said this and I disagree with it. But what about the 60%, the 70%, the 80% of things that we can agree upon, right? And then we can then work on those things beyond just a night of Kwanzaa or a photo opportunity or something to say, ultimately, what tangibly can we do to serve our people through unity? Through unity. And we've seen it at work through operational unity here in Houston, which was a concept that we put into practice. We know that six organizations were more powerful than one, no matter how strong or how bad or how tough or how organized or how educated or how dedicated any one particular group was. 6 of us were stronger than just one. I mean, it's just simple common sense, but the fundamental part of putting it into practice is where you need organizers. And we can start in our families. How many times in our family, brother, we say, people tell me, I ain't talking to my brother. I haven't talked to my sister, my crazy aunt or uncle or my mother or my father. We can start in our families. We're pulling those units together as Shape Center, which is the United Nations of the Black Community.
That's right.
Here in Houston always teaches us strong family, strong nation. Right.
That's right.
So those are like some examples. I'm really, really, really fired up, man, to be here at Emancipation Park because I know the history of the park, how this came about, and then some of the history that just exists. And for those listening across the country, this street, which was renamed recently Emancipation Way, right? Or is it Emancipation Avenue, Dr. Abdul Halim? Yes. Emancipation Avenue from Dowling Street was one of those hubs of economic and social and political activity like we had all across this country.
That's right.
And so we're standing on sacred ground, historic ground, and we're doing, it's a great honor. We got Dr. Freeman in there, 98 years old. He spoke a word. I mean, what can you say? Somebody 98 years old, he told the young people, you got to fight for freedom.
Wow.
That's what you need to do. That's what he said.
Dr. Thomas Freeman is one of the premier debate teachers and coaches at Texas Southern University, historic Texas Southern University, that went around the country waxing backsides around the country and around the world, defeating the best debate teams in the country. out going from place to place, just waxing them, and he absolutely will live through his students forever. And so, Bunchy, we want to get you in, and as we close out with KPFT, we got a young person from Texas Southern University, one of those students of Dr. Thomas Freeman, and a new student leader that's emerging coming up that we're looking forward to. So, Bunchy, talk to us, man, about unity and where you see us going in terms of going forward in the future, and your hopes and your dreams.
Well, you know, I'll start with the hopes and dreams, and it's basically what Brother Kofi said. One thing, we're not the enemy. You know, and in so many organizations, I hear brothers talking about, well, F them Hebrews, or F the Nation of Islam. That they're not the enemy. They might not, you may not agree with everything they say, but they're not the enemy. And so, I mean, that's where we got to start, is we have to come together as a people to fight the challenges of the things that's going on. I recently lost my son, Christian Creer. He was murdered December the 6th. You know, we have the no bloodshed movement and the things like that. The things that we have to deal with is the economic and social position of many of our black youth, black people, period. You know, I always ask people, have you ever been to the bottom?